Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 educational podcasts that I found to be very useful for both teaching and learning, and every now and then maybe enjoying a good laugh. The following podcasts I recommend are from a website titled 50 Educational Podcasts You Should Check Out. This site boasts a wide variety of podcasts that span across different subject areas, but since I teach literacy, I focused on the ones I could benefit from directly. First up is Classic Poetry Aloud, giving voice to the poetry of the past. This podcast is a great resource if you're teaching a poetry unit. Here you can browse or find poems based on a particular poet theme or by doing a search for the title. If searching by poet, you click here at the top, and then below you will see them listed in alphabetical order. Just click the poet's name, and you'll see all the reading podcasts for them. You can also find poems by theme if teaching a thematic unit. Here they list several popular themes. You choose the one that you're interested in, and then you choose the poem that you want to have read. Lastly, you can also do a manual search over here on the right-hand side. Definitely a useful podcast when working on poetry with your students. The next podcast is TED Talks. I knew about TED Talks before I came across this recommendation. This collection of podcasts are hosted by some of the world's greatest educators, researchers, and community leaders who share their stories and visions on stage at conferences and events around the world. Each podcast discusses ideas on a variety of topics, from relationships, education, psychology, technology, science, and life. TED Talks has podcasts for everyone through various interests and for all people in all walks of life, interested in learning something new about concepts, studies, and theories to ponder. TED Talks is available through iTunes. There are over 52 podcasts, and they are organized by title, length, release date, description, and popularity. You can preview the podcast by playing the play button, and it opens up to a video. Next up is Grammar Girl. This is probably my favorite podcast yet. This site offers regular podcasts for anyone interested in teaching grammar or learning it for themselves. This is a friendly guide to the world of grammar, punctuation, usage, and fun developments in the English language. This podcast is one of the most helpful to use in the classroom to sneak in quick 4 to 5 minute grammar lessons on a particular topic with quick and dirty tips. First, below you'll see the most recent tips that have been added, followed by the most popular, and finally her long list of archives. As soon as you choose a topic, in this case I choose who versus whom, and once I go in, you click on the podcast on the right, and as an added bonus, a full transcript is provided below so you can read along with the podcast. Next is Google Educast. Here, Google certified teachers are featured on this weekly podcast that gives a roundup of new tech tools and Google products, many of which can be used in the classroom, and highlights best practices using Google products with students of all ages. As you can see, there are over 150 podcasts arranged chronologically. There are various topics discussed within the Google brand to choose from. Once you choose a topic to discuss, you click on the link and you get an overview and description of what the podcast is about, which helps to decide if it's a podcast that you want to take the time to listen to. Since there are many podcasts to choose from and sift through, it helps to use the search feature to look for specific podcasts. For example, if I wanted to learn more about Google Hangouts, I type that into the search field. Here, I get nothing but podcasts related to Google Hangouts. This helps to narrow my search, and it's a great resource if you're looking to incorporate Google tools into your pedagogy. Lastly, as educators, we face the daunting task of reaching all students, despite their disabilities. As such, we're always looking for tips and advice to help reach students that struggle far more than the average student because of a disability. Where better to do this than to learn from other educators, such as ourselves, who are also sharing the same difficulties and have implemented successful strategies to help these students. This is a great podcast for teachers to use as a way to gain insight and tips on helping struggling students with certain skills and concepts that are not necessarily taught but are integral for success, and especially when reaching high school and college. As you can see, this podcast is visually soothing and therapeutic, as the name of the podcast suggests, therapy and learning services. You can scroll down the list of podcasts and read an overview of what the podcast entails. You can also use the search feature for a specific topic or browse by category at the very top. All in all, whether you teach special education students, general ed students, or homeschool a child, these podcasts can serve all students, no matter their educational abilities. I highly recommend you view these podcasts for yourself, or take a look at the websites that feature the 50 of these great podcasts.